That's the secret most people miss. Expense compression only feels like punishment when it's open-ended, when it has no finish line. Give it an end date, give it a purpose, and it becomes a tool instead of a burden. Not by pretending it was easy, but by remembering it wasn't permanent. That's something most people miss. Debt payoff isn't about one magic trick. It's about stacking small optimizations until they become undeniable. This part was subtle, but it might have been the most powerful move of all. I track the balance weekly. Not monthly. Weekly. Most people only look at their debt when a statement comes out. Weekly tracking changed that completely. Every 7 days, I looked at the number. Just consistently. I watched the principal move. I saw the impact of extra payments almost immediately. I saw interest lose ground week by week instead of month by month. That visibility mattered. When progress is visible, effort feels rewarded. When effort feels rewarded, consistency becomes easier. Weekly tracking turned debt payoff into an active process instead of a passive wait. It kept the goal top of mind without letting it become overwhelming. Consistency kills debt. Tension is how it dies. That's where most people fail. Not at the start, but in the middle. When the novelty wears off and the finish line still feels far away. Weekly tracking bridged that gap. It shortened the feedback loop. It reminded me that even boring progress is still progress. Debt payoff isn't just a financial exercise. It's a behavioral one. It rewires how you respond to delay, effort, and discomfort. Psychology is the real fight. That's the part that wears people down. Not because they're weak, but because it's constant. It doesn't show up all at once. It drips. The hardest part of this entire process wasn't making the payments. It was not stopping. There's a psychological trap most people fall into, and it's subtle enough that they don't even realize it's happening. I think of it as progress complacency. Once you see improvement, your brain relaxes. The urgency drops. The threat feels smaller. You start telling yourself that you've proven you can do it, so it's okay to ease up now. That's when plans quietly die. I saw that trap early, and I refused to fall into it, because I understood something that most people underestimate. Debt is quiet pressure. Even when it's not screaming, it's shaping your decisions. It influences what you say yes to and what you avoid. It narrows your tolerance for risk. It adds friction to every choice that involves money, time, or uncertainty. You don't notice it day to day because it becomes background noise. But it's always there. I didn't just want lower payments. I wanted freedom of movement, the ability to change jobs without panic, to take time off without calculation, to say no to things that didn't align without wondering how I'd cover the gap. That kind of freedom has a cost, and that cost is discomfort up front. I had to get comfortable being the outlier, the one who wasn't upgrading, the one who wasn't keeping up, the one whose life looked smaller on the surface. That's a psychological skill. It's not about money. It's about identity. I had to detach my self-worth from visible consumption, from milestones that are easy to show and hard to sustain, from the idea that progress has to look impressive to be real. I also had to manage boredom. No one talks about how boring discipline gets. That's where most people sabotage themselves. They don't break under pressure. They break under monotony. So I reframed boredom as stability, as proof that the system was working. If nothing dramatic was happening, that meant I was executing. Another psychological challenge was delayed gratification. The rewards were far away. Months away. Sometimes a year away. Meanwhile, the sacrifices were immediate. I had to train myself to trust future relief more than present relief. To believe that the version of me 2 years ahead mattered enough to inconvenience the version of me right now. That's not natural. It's learned. I used reminders. Not motivational quotes, but clarity. I revisited why I started. I visualized what zero would feel like, not as a fantasy, but as a functional reality. No payments. No balances. No mental tabs open. When motivation dipped, I leaned on systems instead of feelings. Automation kept things moving when my energy was low. Rules replaced willpower. I didn't ask myself every month whether I still wanted this. That question invites negotiation. I decided once and executed many times. There was also a strange grief involved. As the balance dropped, I realized how long debt had been shaping my choices without my consent. That awareness came with some anger. At the system. At myself. At the normalization of carrying this weight. But I didn't let that turn into resentment. I let it resolve. I was done letting past decisions dictate future ones. The final stretch was the hardest psychologically, even though it should have been the easiest. The number was smaller. The end was visible. That's when complacency whispers the loudest. You're basically there. You've done enough. You can slow down now. That's when I tightened focus. Because I knew that debt doesn't need you to fail completely. It just needs you to drift. So I didn't drift. I kept going at the same pace until the very end.